I'm going to do an introduction with this beautiful, lovely young thoroughbred, Promise. And Promise is 5, Callie?
Yes.
Around there? Okay. Some previous training, riding.
Yeah, she was an ex-race horse, and she came to a friend. Basically, it was a friend of mine that rode her, just couldn't handle her. She was getting thrown alive, and she's just been sitting here and been trying to put weight on her.
Okay, yep, so pretty flighty horse. All right, we've known a lot of horses like this, haven't we? What do you do with this horse? What do you do with this horse to help this horse calm down and feel safe and comfortable? And that's the premise of this work, in this liberty work, this join up that I've developed, that I'm going to talk about, the 3 levels of join up and how does that show up in our horses. This clinic is not going to get into the depth of the chakras or the energy work that I do, because that's the intuitive horsemanship clinic, and it's huge, and it comes with a 60-some page workbook and manual. But I am going to talk a lot about the chakras, and when I work with the students that come in, you guys get a half an hour each. We'll talk about that. And what I'm doing right now is I'm holding the space energetically, and I'm grounding. And this is really important. So when I have a horse like this, I don't just go in there and start pushing this horse around. That's never my intention or my method. This whip is here as an extension of me only, as a communication tool. And what you'll see is a lot of Reiki work. Now, I'm not going to teach you all of this, because this is the depth of the intuitive horsemanship clinic. This is basically how can I help you guys get connection and be in a space where your horse is tuned into you, feels safe with you, wants to join up with you, so that you have a conversation. And what does a conversation look like? How does that happen? If you can hold this horse's attention, if you can get this horse's attention, then you'll have everything you want. But you've got to be mindful. You've got to develop the level of awareness and to be present. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my horse right now. What do I need to do to get my horse back to me for this level of connection? And I have 3 levels of connection that I'm always striving for, and I'm always looking for. These 3 levels of connection are the mind, body, and soul. And how does it show up in our horses? So easily, the 3 levels of join up are in mind. How does the mind show up? When use a lot of common sense. When I'm working with horses, it's a lot of common sense as far as the application, the practical aspects of this relationship, meaning I'm looking at this horse as a sentient being, and that this horse is not only emotionally intelligent, this horse is extremely intelligent. And you have to understand the basic psychology only takes you so far. And I'm so sick of the basic psychology of horses out there, I could puke it. Because it doesn't help you understand the depth of the horse, the equine. Basic psychology, we all know they live in their right brain. Give me a break. We all know that they are predisposed and hardwired from birth to deal with their environment and to react to their environment from their senses. Period. Natural horsemanship specifically, in-hand work was developed to get the horse to start thinking and responding. I mean, all of our technique, however you apply it, is to help the horse get in the left brain. Right? It's basically to get that left brain working. We're always in our left brain. My work is to get you in the right brain. My work is to get you to start speaking the language of equus. Start to talk to this horse, work with this horse in a language that the horse understands. The dichotomy of this, as well as the ebb and flow, the yin and yang, the dichotomy is we also want the horse to come into our left brain. Right? So there is technique that we're going to be applying. We're going to get this horse to think. But you can't get this horse thinking until it feels open, it feels safe, and it is wanting. So unlike traditional round pen methods where we get in there and start forcing this horse to move around until it's exhausted, so it's just dominance force training, we don't want that. We want to present what the horse is looking for. So she got really upset when her supposed friend got taken away from her, which was her security blanket, and she ran around and kicked up and got really insecure. So what I want to teach you guys is how to present what that horse is looking for before you ever enter that space. Horses. Oh my gosh. I am going to be the first person that I know of out that's going to speak openly about this. The Sixth Sense, and it's in my online course, but I only speak about it briefly because it'll be something I will be delving in deeper as the course continues. Callie's helping me launch it the 1st of May. That's why we're filming this. This is going to be part of it. It also has the new DVD as the release, which is the basic exercises and application of getting the 3 levels of join up, the mind, body, and soul. Where I'm going with all of that is you can't teach this horse anything if it's not open, if its mind is closed, if it's in fear, fight, or flight. And many of the techniques in natural horsemanship, that's why I'm called intuitive horsemanship, many of the natural horsemanship techniques out there, don't get me wrong, I will match a horse's resistance and hold until the breakthrough happens. But unfortunately, most trainers out there will fight, and they will fight with that resistance until the horse gives and surrenders, but not in a surrendering place, and more of a submission. So there's the minutia of this is what I also want you guys to take away from this clinic, is the minutia and in getting you to get a better developed trained eye, because at any time if this horse were to pull back on me in a halter, I would go with the horse. I would go with the horse until the horse could get to a place where I felt through experience that the horse was ready to stop, and therefore I would apply pressure and hold. Does that make sense? So how many of us have seen when the horse pulls back, we pull, or we go with it, or we don't go with it, but it becomes this big fight and the horse is rearing. That's the last thing I want, especially for a horse that is fearful right now. All right? Now, that's totally different than if I have a horse that has a level of education and I know it's much more obstinate and oppositional by nature. Okay, if I know that that's going to show up a month or 2 months down the road, then we're going to have a little come to Jesus. And I'm going to go there with you. I'm going to go there with you until you realize you can't just keep doing this, that this is not the best way to cope or the best way to learn. So I'm going to go there with you, and I'm going to hold, and I'm going to keep applying steady pressure until you realize that's not the way you're going to develop coping skills, or not the way we're going to learn, because you know enough. But I'm not going to do that with a fearful horse. Does that make sense? I want this horse to trust me and to be open right now before I start applying pressure or any kind of teaching tool. This isn't about teaching when I go in there. This is a way of being. This is about the relationship. Relationship comes first. That's the premise of working at Liberty. It's about how do you show up, and how does this horse show up? How do you both show up together? What do you bring to this horse? This sixth sense I talk about is telepathy. I have a conversation all the time. I was born with it. Everybody can. There's a lot of wacko animal communicators out there, and there's a lot of good ones too. There's a lot of good therapists out there and psychologists, and there's a lot of crappy ones. There's a lot of good trainers out there, and there's a lot of crappy ones. There's good and bad in everything. You got to be smart, and smart comes with education and going out there and learning as much as you can so that you have the best trained eye you possibly can. You have as much foundation as possible. Good. So she just stopped. And that's what I asked her to do. So when I carry this tool is to reach out to her. This tool is to communicate with her. This tool is to send her everything I can, energetically and intentionally. And it is also called a tuning tool, because I'm teaching you guys how to become tuning forks, how to become the best communicators you can, how to tune into this horse, and how to tune the horse into you. So what do you do when your child isn't listening anymore? And you're teaching your child. You're teaching your child how to eat in a restaurant, how to act out in public. And they're at the age where they can start to learn, right? They're at the proper age where they can start to learn. So you might say, okay, Johnny, shh, keep your inside voice, not your outside voice, inside voice. Shh, Johnny, shh, Johnny, thank you. Okay, you might get a little stronger to get your point across. So you're going to do what's necessary to get your point across, right? That's the key here. So if this horse all of a sudden starts racing around here and she can no longer ground with me, she can't tune in to the energy, the space that I've created right now, then I'm going to show you lots of strategies this weekend to how to help that. And you may see a lot of energy. You may see a lot of energy from me until I can get this horse to tune back into me. But that's the purpose of this tool then, all right? Tool's never to punish. When I ride with a dressage whip, when I'm doing my dressage lessons, that if the horse isn't tuned in to the subtle aid within my shift of my seat or my leg or my whatever aid I'm using, my seat, the whip, the crop is only there to tap, tap, tap and tune them back into me. It's never there to correct. I never use these tools to correct or punish or make the horse feel punitive. It's how you use these. It's what you bring into this space. Does that make sense? I think of it like raising kids. I've never had, I now am down in Florida with my boyfriend of 4 years, and I've known his son, who's 5, his whole life. I'm his other mother. I'm blessed. I did want a child when I was married, and it just didn't happen. It wasn't the right person. And, I'm 46 now, and I am so blessed to have this child in my life. And it's no different than raising your children. It's no different than raising kids. These animals are so socially and emotionally intelligent. Think of social intelligence, what they need as a community, as a herd, the pecking orders. Here go with this bullshit basic psychology again. Oh, pecking order, the horse is going to keep testing you till, sure, they're going to test you till you figure out where you both fit into that relationship. But why do they test you? It's just not that black and white. You have to understand the deep, good morning, the deep level of hierarchy and pecking order in a social species and why it's important. It's very important. It's very important for social organization. It's very important for everyone to fit in. Once horses fit into a herd, they never test each other. It's the horses in our domesticated herds that are not balanced that test each other. Those are called displaced anxieties and displaced behaviors. Out in the wild, that doesn't exist. Everybody accepts their position once they find their position. And then they all pull together and help as a community to raise the young and to work together. Everything is about harmony and cohesiveness and respect and leadership and partnership. We have so much to learn from these horses on how to be together. How to be together. So before I will not rudely go into this space and start pushing this horse around, I want this horse to have an opportunity to see who I am, to connect with me. And if this horse could not ground and kept running around and it looked dangerous and looked like it was escalating, there's a strategy that I will show you throughout the weekend how to help this horse. It's also going to be on the online course. How do you interrupt that pattern, shut that down so that the horse can finally tune into you? Sometimes you can offer all you want and they're not ready. Not every horse is ready. I'd say 95% of our domesticated horses are shut down. And if they're not shut down, then they have awful, awful behaviors. And it's not normal. We have created them. We are dysfunctional. We don't realize what we bring into that space. Why are our children so tuned in? Why do horses and kids get along so well? They're of the same nature. They're innocent. There's no agenda. Children don't begin to understand and get tainted until the rite of passage. The rite of passage happens at puberty, and all of a sudden, all this new awareness comes. Their own bodies, how to fit in, social pressure. The kids, they never even think about that. And that's why the horse enjoys them so much. That's why the horse takes care of our children. The way my horses treat Mason, oh my gosh. With like he's their baby. Oh, I can't step on you. Oh, where are you? Oh, I need to make sure. Oh, you're getting ready to fall off of me. Oh, I'll just stop right now until you get away from me. He's mine. Don't you come near me. Very protective. Very protective. But we can all share that. They can be that way with us. It's amazing the depth of the relationship and what these creatures are searching for and yearning, and how they take care of them each other. I want to be part of that. And that's also part of this wonderful bond that we're creating, the liberty, the riding bridleless. Sure, I work on technique when I'm refining my bridleless because I want to do some really cool things. But to get to the point of your horse taking care of you, it's, to me, it's been developed through this work of mine, the mind and body being aligned, the energy, the rhythm, the tempo, so that when you do ask for a trot or a canter, it comes within you, the horse is one with you. And so that feels the same thing when you transfer that to the riding. So in a natural herd dynamic, natural meaning wild, or a healthy, balanced, domesticated herd dynamic, the horse that's being introduced to the herd, which is me right now, I'm introducing myself to this horse because I want to be accepted. So I must wait, and I must respect space and territory, and I must wait until this horse ingratiates me. And that always shows up with horses when they what? Blow into each other's noses. When horses accept each other, they exchange breath. When they don't, they squeal, fight, posture, pin ears, and attack. Now, in the wild, that doesn't happen. Stallions, don't include stallions. They're testosterone and adrenaline. Do you see in the wild stallions hanging out together? Hell no. Okay, they do fight. They have adrenaline. They have aggression. Okay, it's the testosterone. But mares and of course geldings do not have that level of aggression at all. And horses are not aggressive by nature. So when we see horses picking on each other and biting and attacking and, savagely, that's not normal. Okay, I know that that's not normal, but unfortunately, we've come to accept so much of that as normal. So what is normal when a horse feels safe and balanced, and this work is about bringing balance and well-being to us and our horses, this mindset, this way, and this is the way of the wild, this is the true nature of the horse, because they are a passive creature by nature. They want to get along. They want the way of ease. They choose the path of least resistance always. They don't like confrontation. They sniff and they blow, and that's their acceptance. That's how I always know. I always know whether this horse, let's say this horse came to me. This is my farm. And I would know immediately by the way my horses greeted her or acknowledged her. And I would know by the energy that she has how well she would do or not do. And she would do fantastic. This is a very scared, timid horse right now. She has a young eye. I want you guys to always look at your horse's eye. That's the number one feature that tells me always where my horse is. Body shows up, look, like our body, okay? Whatever we think and feel, our body mirrors. Again, that's what we bring to the horse. That's what the horse is so tuned into. So there's this whole sixth sense that I will be talking more about through my online course about telepathy, but it is an energy, a vibration. The chakra systems are aligned within our spine. They're ancient. They're vortexes. They're wheels of energy that have, we've been talking about this for centuries. And the horse's chakras are lined up identically to ours along the spine. And I have all this information on my website with charts and diagrams that show you where the chakras are located. And we send out, I believe this through experience, and this is my work, that we send out calibrations and different vibrations depending on how we feel about something. So how we feel about it gets trapped within certain specific chakras. And that energy, if you all have heard of the law of attraction, you may not believe in the law of attraction. I am a believer of the law of attraction because it is an energetic field that we produce and project within ourselves that's always surrounded by the emotion, the attachment that we have, the feeling that we have. And that shows up also in our actions. Our bodies reflect what we feel, always. I think we all can say yes to that. Some of us are more aware than others. No, the horse is very aware. Very aware. You can't lie to them. So you may want to go do that work, but your heart might be heavy. Or you might have anxiety over something. But you've got to get 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes into that horse. But when you bring that incongruent energy, meaning your actions in your heart or your feelings are not aligned, horses don't want to deal with that. That puts them in the right brain, puts them on flight, fight, or freeze. Because they don't operate like that. How that horse feels and thinks is how she shows up in her body. And the eye is the windows to the soul. So she's doing a lot of blinking. She just breathed out. That's relaxation. And if you look at her eye, I want you guys to look at it and tell me what you read in a descriptive way as far as how would you explain to me what you see in her eye at any given time? Like, does she look relaxed? Does she look soft? Does she look worried? Does she look... read it like you would read a person's eye. I want you to read her eye as if you would read a person's. Explain, think about it. Explain to me what that looks like to you. And do you think this horse looks her age? Does she look younger or does she look older? Because that's very important when you're working with horses. Very important to me as a trainer. I must know how young or how old this horse is, because that's going to tell me how easy. There's two things that are going to tell me how easy it is or how difficult it is to work with this horse. And those are two secrets I'm going to give you guys. I'm going to give you lots of secrets. Doesn't mean it's going to make the work any easier. Good morning. So 2 secrets right now. Horses have fight, flight, or freeze. Fight shows up not in, I'm coming after you to kill you. Okay, those are really damaged, traumatized horses. If a horse is coming after you at that point, somebody's really done a job on that horse because they are not aggressive by nature. How does fight show up in our average horse when you go to work with them? How does fight show up? This is natural for horses. They are hardwired to have this fight. How it shows up in the wild is through opposition. Meaning if they get attacked by a predator that goes to drag them down, they will go to stomp on it or kick at it or crush it. Okay, it's called pushing into pressure. Why do our horses push into pressure? It's natural. It's called opposition. How do I know how easy or challenging a horse is going to be when I start working with it? In hand online, not at liberty. In hand online, because why? They are feeling pressure. Their fight. How oppositional are they? How resistant are they? How much fight do they have on the end of that line? Now remember, I'm not here to make them fight. I'm not here to fight with them. I'm here to ask them, can you come with this steady pressure? And if I get a lot of this and pulling and dragging and flipping out, woo! Now, is that because the horse has a conditioned response built in from past experience? Or is that its nature? If I have a horse that I know somebody else has owned, and I see that level of opposition and resistance, I know immediately that was created. Sorry, I'm not going to guess that. If I have a young horse that's had minimal handling, I'm going to tell you, young babies, remember, curiosity. They are curious. What's the opposite of fear? Curiosity. You might get a little bit of this and then, oh yeah, they figure it out like that and it's done. You're done. It should never show up again. But it all depends on the nature of that horse. How oppositional are they by nature is how long it takes for them to finally give. And it can take months. Jean, you raise your hand, hon. A student and dear friend of mine, since I was married and had my farm in Whitehaven, Maryland. Her husband, fiance at the time, wanted to buy my yearling, my year and a half old, 1.5-year-old, who had minimal handling. And I had him for a year since he was 5 months old, and bought him knowing fully this. He was a lot to handle for the woman that bred him. He's registered paint, looked like a thoroughbred, looked like a giraffe. He was always up, very flighty, very oppositional and very flighty. And this is what's so cool. Unbeknownst to both of us, she gave me his papers. he is my black horse's nephew. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I'm buying this horse. Oh yeah. And I'm like, no wonder why you don't want him. He's crazy. He's crazy spaz. Spooks at everything. Pushy. But he came home and he got to live with my herd, and he got to learn just by observing and being. He got to learn a lot. So he's in my DVD, my 9 online exercises. He is the second DVD, the sequel. And you get to see Jet in his first training session on a 30-foot rope, because he is running and pulling me all over. And I have all these obstacles set up to help divert him and stop him. And I'm just like showing him the barrels, and, with just a little bit of, can you just come up? Let's see where your try is. Let's see how curious you are. And he had plenty of curiosity, but he was very flighty, very strong and very willful, just like willful. That's a paint characteristic, paint horse. And I go with it. He's pulling me all over the place. I just go with it. And all of a sudden, he's got all these obstacles in front of him. And after a few times, he starts thinking, he starts relaxing, and he takes the jump. No problem. He puts his feet on top of the pedestal. But the point I'm making is this horse, because of his sense of fight and flight that was so innate within him, when Ken wanted to buy him, I said, I will not sell him unless he stays with me at least until he's 3. And he's only a year and a half old, but he gets training. He gets slow, consistent training. Why? Because this horse was going to take a long time to come into his own. You can't force that. It's like children. God, why don't people look at it like this? If your kid's not doing well in regular school, aren't you going to want to take them out and find what's the best school or the best mentor or the best program for your child? Well, they're no different. Their personalities and the uniqueness, the individuality of them is no different than us, if you believe that they are extremely intelligent, both socially and emotionally. It is no different.
Was because I had to find a different way.
I have a system. They all go through my system, but it's how I help them through the system. You worried about that?
No, look, it's not tied down.
I know. So the system for me is basically sets me up to be able to read the horse. It's called my emotional agility test. It's like sending us to school. How well do we do in a written exam? Well, how well does our horse do emotionally? Tells me how reactive they are, how resistant they are, how calm they are, how shut down they are. Now I'm going to go in. Now, I practiced this for a long time. I grew up meditating for severe panic attacks. That's part of the evolution of this work and understanding energy and being able to meditate at any time without thinking about it. So this is called sharing space. And I'm in an energetic place right now where I'm holding in my first and second chakra. And if she's open and willing to receive, she will come with this energy. And if she did not come with this energy and decided to trot around here, I have strategies to get in front of her to help her tune into me. So I want her to feel safe. It doesn't mean that at any minute she may not understand something or I may not trigger something. But I want her to feel safe. I want her to want to be with me. This is the bonding rituals. This is the relationship. This isn't about teaching her anything right now. It's a way of being. It's a way of being. And I want her to want me in this relationship. And the relationship shows up, in typical, bonding rituals that horses do with each other when they trust each other and allow each other to share that space. And if your horse doesn't act like this, then they're not ready. So don't force it. It took me a while with my Arab and a while with my white quarter horse. Don't force this. Okay, if your horse doesn't respond by enjoying it or scratching you back, don't force it. This is called information gathering. So every time I work with a new horse for the first time, everything I do, I set up purposely to get information. It's not a teaching or training session. This is about information. Once I start working with them, it's called feedback. I don't believe in desensitizing or despooking horses. That is cruel and abusive. I don't want to be desensitized. This is one of the most highly sensitized creatures as a prey animal. They are so tuned in to everything. They are so super sensitive. So how do you get a horse to not react? Through trust, through partnership, developing relationship, and by getting them to start to get in their left brain and out of their right brain. Getting them to think. But not think in such a horrible, repetitive manner that they're bored. Or they're just mechanically going through the motions. Again, that'll be another strategy that you guys will learn this weekend. How do I get a horse to start to think? I'm not going to set up obstacles in here and start pushing them through and getting them to think and go through thresholds. That's not the thinking that I'm talking about. And you don't need to. What you want to get, you want it so this horse trusts you so much that this horse will do anything for you. It will try anything. Just like it will for its mother. It doesn't question its mama when it's following its mother around through raging rivers and fields and woods. So see how she's searching for, what is she searching for right now? She's connecting and searching for that energy that makes her feel at ease. So we're talking about congruency. We're talking about what I have, what I think, and how it shows up physically in my actions are the same. So even though I'm talking, she just gave me permission. Even though I'm talking and I'm touching and I'm doing, I'm very well practiced. And I've never met this mare till now. I'm very well practiced at being in my body and being grounded. So for right now, if you guys watch me, I'm always pretty much on one leg. I'm always weight bearing on one leg, most of the time. If ever I'm stopped, I'm always on one leg. So this is a grounding position because I can feel it's a centered position of aligning and grounding and weight bearing like when you ride. I can feel the weight in my right heel. So therefore, as I walk and talk and do, I feel. And that is what keeps me in my body. And it is a practice. But I must be there to do this work because so much of my work is about healing and releasing trauma on a very deep emotional level. So I'm going to bring her back to the center. My eye on her eye. And the whip is part of me. So the whip will touch and the whip will love. Thank you. And if you have a horse that's petrified of the whip, that's a whole nother strategy. Just, it's part of you. Don't force it. Don't force it. So when the horse starts to trust you, and let's say she's afraid of the whip, but she really wants to be with me and really wants this space with me, I am going to keep reaching out. I'm going to keep reaching out until this horse cannot focus on the whip, but feels the energy from the whip in the embrace. As it pulls her back into me. She's so cute. Callie, have you done any work with her? Little bit? Nothing. 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 So why? Couple of things going on. So again, what is this for me? What would this be for you for the first time? Information gathering. Okay? So this tells me that this horse is pretty open and really ready to feel, to bond. That she hasn't had enough damage that she cannot try to bond with a human and be open enough to receive what I'm giving her energetically. What do you do if you have a horse that's running around here? Again, you're going to, and this is all going to be on the online course. It's in the DVD that's being released because, and hopefully we'll get to see this with some of your horses this weekend. You're going to cut this round pen in half. My round pen DVD that I'm offering for half off up there goes through this, okay? It goes into the power of intention, position, and movement. Very important. You're going to interrupt that pattern, that behavior, and keep getting in front of your horse. This work is all about getting what? The first level of join up, the mind. How does it show up in our horses? When your horse gives you their full attention, ears and eyes. So she keeps coming in and sharing the space, but she isn't quite relaxed, is she? She's still looking around. Okay, it's information. This is the first time. Just know that as the work continues, you're going to want your horse to completely surrender. And that's where the head drops. They don't need to look anywhere because they trust the space that you've created. And this is called leadership. This is what the lead mare gives. This is leadership. You're clear. You have clarity. You are consistent. You are consistent. You have purpose. You have experience. That's a lead mare. And you are congruent. And you are fair and firm. There's always got to be a balance in life, you guys. We're always looking for balance, aren't we? It can't all be love and no leadership. It can't all be leadership and no love. In understanding what that means and how that shows up in you. So let's get back to the eye. That's the second thing I look at in a horse, obviously for the first time. My second little secret here to identifying how easy or difficult this horse is going to be. So let's just look at the eye right now. That's a good release. So shaking is a stress release. And a yawn. This is excellent. So she's 5 years old. Does she look 5 to you? Does she look younger? Does she look 5 or does she look older?
Younger.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? So this would be to me a late bloomer, a very immature 5. And an immature 5 is going to take a while. So she's not a flighty horse. Let me tell you why. It's really easy for her to bond and come in and be open and feel the space that I've created for relaxation and ease. If she was really a flighty horse, she would not be able to do this, you guys. Now, whether that's by nature, I don't think she is by nature, or by nurture, her conditioned response, somebody creating that. Why do I think by nature she's a really easygoing, calm horse? Because of her eye. It just is an easygoing eye. And she's a young 5. She's immature. She's got a lot of play, a lot more curiosity, and she's going to take a while to mature, and some consistency. So that's what I refer to as a little bit of a wake up. And here's some energy reaching out and pulling in. So that just means come back to me, that little smooch. Just come back. It's just a wake up. It's not pressure. It's not pressure. It's not pressure. It's a wake up. Don't leave me. Hello, I'm over here. Why? Because there's going to be a difference in this method between intention and action. Should mean nothing. Because there's no intention. I'm grounded. I'm relaxed. There's no purpose. Now, when I focus on her, she needs to come. She needs to pay and tune in to intention, because that's what's going to save you. That's the safest thing you can develop. When a horse tunes in to intention and not action, you've got it made. Now you can ride bridleless. Not today, but you know what I mean. Through work. That's the depth of this connection, that she tunes into your intention. She tunes in to the energy into your mind. Right? Now she's in her left brain. Now she's not all over the place. Oh my God, I'm just going to react because I've been taught that every time someone clucks or every time someone beats the ground with this whip, she's just responding to the action. So you want your horse to respond to the purpose of the action. There's no purpose right now. I'm busy talking to you. I have no focus but on you. Focus is not on the horse. So you must be clear. So let's say she freaked out. Let her freak out. You just hold your position right here. Just wait. Hold your space. Keep grounding. Let your horse go nuts. And then get in front of your horse. And bring your horse in. So you're changing the experience in their perception so that they start to tune in. It doesn't get any safer or any deeper than that. So the mind shows up in her level of focus, ears and eyes on me. When the mind focuses on you, the body always hooks on. But it's how the body hooks on that allows the soul of the horse to join you. Anybody familiar with Marguerite Coates, the famous international animal communicator and author? So 4 years ago, I got turned on to her, and I had already been doing this work, of course. And one of the most awesome things I found and learned, and it's also on my website, is that her study and experience and research, she has come up with, there's 7 chakras within our chakra system, the human, and 7 within the animals, all animals. But Marguerite has found there's an 8th chakra within animals. And the 8th chakra is located above the withers. Or the shoulder area of any animal. And the 8th chakra is the chakra that allows an animal to open and connect and seek relationship. But if this chakra is closed or blocked energetically because of trauma, feelings, then the animal will not choose to connect with you, open up, or bond. Now, all of my work is always here. And so the hand sits above the scapula, right below the withers. And this is a place to ground and have the horse tune in to see how open they are. And she's pretty open because she's here. She's very curious. And she's allowing me here. And if the horse is open, the palm of your hand will heat up very hot, because it is an exchange of energy. If the horse is not open, they can still stand there and be shut down. If they're not open, your hand will not heat up. And the horse will not curve around you. So the soul, the 4th chakra is our heart chakra. And on the horse, it's located in the chest, shoulder area. That's the horse's chakra for their heart. And then the 8th chakra, isn't that interesting, is right above the heart chakra on the horse. So if she is really wanting of the relationship and her soul is open, she's going to lean into me like this, because she's going to share that heart chakra and the 8th chakra. And this is what allows the liberty work to be so beautiful. This is the connection. It's not technique. You're going to include technique. You're going to learn how to use this whip to help shape, like the circle, or help pull the horse in. Remember, it's an extension of you. But this work is not about technique. That's the coolest thing. This work is about the joining of these 3 levels of join up, the mind, body, and soul, with you, both intentionally, with purpose, both energetically and spiritually. The spiritual side of this is the soul, and in your heart space, how you feel, how much you want this, how open you are. Does anybody have any questions so far? Because I'm going to move her around. So I've already done a couple of little checks. She certainly isn't worried about the whip. She's not worried about the clucking. That doesn't send her off, because it can. A lot of horses, believe me, that have had previous experiences, thank God she hasn't had too much of the wrong thing, because that's usually the first two things that just send them over the edge. You can't even lift this thing and they're out because they've had horrible round pen experiences where they're just being chased the whole time. So when I'm going to work her in this space, that's why I love this space, because it helps you create and cultivate this. Number one, the purpose of the round pen is because it offers continual flow, continual movement. Horses don't get stuck. And I know for a fact that if I were to turn her loose in this arena, we would lose so much opportunity because of this space. We would lose so much opportunity to keep connection because she's not ready to totally tune in and give me 100%. And I need to help create and develop that so that she feels safe with me and checks in with me, and I become the lead mare that she needs. And also, that's the relationship part, the partnership part. So for me, there's 5 qualities or 4 qualities that lead to partnership, and in this order: acceptance, trust, respect, leadership, partnership. So ultimate unity or oneness, which to me is partnership, won't come until those 4 ingredients are there first. This is called acceptance right now. We're building trust. We're going to build respect. And you can't have leadership till you have those 3 ingredients. Not by my book, you can't. She must accept me to have a willing partner. She must want me and accept me. Then she must trust me. She must respect me. But it's not a must that I have to make her respect me. I must earn that respect. That's the key thing. I must earn that. I want to set you guys up in a position where you can earn that respect. Respect is consistency, clarity. They're leadership qualities, congruency. When you have all of those, you will have a partner. You'll have a willing partner that chooses to be with you and work with you, not against you. Okay. It's starting to sprinkle. Purpose. I want her out. I'm very clear. I'm going to drive her hindquarters. What am I looking for? Before I ask this horse back in, 3 R's: relaxation, rhythm, and regularity. I will not invite this horse back in until I see all 3. And usually when it shows up, your horse will have a smaller circle around you. This work is about keeping your horse with you and in the center. It's not about pushing her out on the round pen panel. But I am doing this to be very clear, because this is a strategy, because I want you guys to have movement, understand that movement inspires movement. Your position helps. Now, take it away. And just ground. Just breathe down, relax, don't focus on her. Take it all away. This is information. So once she gets up, she stays up for a little while. This is important for you to know. You must set it up like this so you know what you're dealing with. This is a strategy. I am grounding. This tells me how hard it is for this horse to come back down once she goes up. My work in the round pen, I never want the horse to leave me. Okay? The work is about nurturing, developing and nurturing this space, this chi energy in the center. And you and the horse move together in this space, but you are together. But I'm setting you up to start to identify how easy it's going to be or how challenging it's going to be once you do start to move this horse. You are going to have to move your horses and move with your horses. So this is great information right now. How easy is it for her to come back down? Was there a lot of relaxation, rhythm, and regularity? Meaning, did she stay in one gait? And did she have cadence in that gait? No, she picked up a lope. And she looked like she wanted to buck before I took the energy away. Good morning. Do we have any? I think we've got one seat over here. And okay. And there's portable, I think there's a couple, Jen, you've got two, you guys are good, okay. All right, now we're going to go back to pulling this mare in. Good. I always want to pull her in. Pull this eye into you. Pull her in to your center, your chakras. Let her connect with ease and comfort and safety. Let her know what that feels like. So here's the beginning of the first exercise. Pull her in. Change direction. Get her right eye. Pull her in. Straight. Change direction. If she leaves, ground. Invite her back in. Okay, so let's go back to why I asked her to move out. Because I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. You must know how your horse is going to respond to pressure. Because you don't know. Is it a trigger? I know that young horses don't get triggered like that. And it's impossible when you start with a young, fresh horse to get them off of you. It's impossible. It's really good to know that she hasn't had any previous bad round pen experience. That's obvious because she didn't want to leave me. I really had to push her out. But you have to know that. I'm setting you up for success. You have to know how your horse is going to respond when you start working in here, because most of our horses have been damaged in this round pen. Not this one, but in round pens. Not here. Let me rephrase that. But they have. I mean, I get them all the time. And what are you going to do with that? You get your horse in here, you take the halter off, and it flips out on you. Starts running. Or it becomes bored because it doesn't know how to connect yet, or it just leaves you and starts sniffing around. And you just go, hey, come back here, and it flips out on you. What are you going to do? You got to know. I need to know. I couldn't get rid of her. I knew already that she doesn't have any bad negative round pen experience. That's obvious to me. But you don't know that. You're not me. You haven't had all this experience with all these different horses. So when you first get a horse and you take its halter off, you bring it into does it follow you into the center of this pen? That's where you want to begin. Most likely not. It's either going to be bored, disenchanted, go check out something, or it's going to run with its head cut off. Okay, if it runs with its head cut off, or it's overly reactive in this round pen, it's had some bad round pen experience, because that's not normal. If it becomes bored and loses interest in you, that's pretty normal. Okay, so your job is to ask that horse to come back to you, get its attention, smooch a little. If the horse can't come to you, you're going to drive it out. You are going to drive it out. You're going to say, hey, I'm more important than that ground. Get your hiney and move out, and then come back to a quiet grounding. Can your horse come into that like a magnet? And if it can't, you're going to learn strategies on how to get in front of it and pull that in. But you must know how your horse is going to respond to pressure. Because the minute you go and push them out because they're like, whatever, I'm just going to go sniff this manure over here or eat that blade of grass or go look out over there, you can't have a conversation when your horse is not paying attention. So you have to move them out. You have to establish that. It's called a wake up. It's called a wake up. It's not a punishment. When I say, hey, get that hiney out there. Let's go. Get that hiney out there. That's right. I'm more important than that blade of grass. And then I leave it alone after maybe 10 or 20 feet, and I come back to the center. And I invite the horse back in. Can the horse come back in? No. Okay, the horse is still trucking around here. Okay, I'm going to come this way. Get in your eye. Can you come into me? No, I'm going to change direction and take off the other way. Okay, I'm going to cut the round pen in half. Can you come into me? This eye. So that was energy, and that made her nervous. This is feedback, information. That's a wake up. The cluck is a wake up. Can you tune back into me? This is trust. You're developing trust right now. Remember, what's the one thing I don't ever want to lose is my horse's eye. That's called connection. You can't have a conversation if you have no connection, if you're not paying attention. So I'm going to do everything I can to get back in front of my horse's eye without pushing them away. This is quite a masterful dance.